Okay, so I brought you here. I guess we both brought each other here to focus on the differences between realtors. I think I really want to touch base on that with you. I've noticed over the past year and a half now of being with you and watching you in your craft that you are a whole lot busier right now than ever.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what has changed or what's different and why are you busier?
Yeah, I think, my business has really transpired through not only the year and through my career. So I think there's two different things I want to talk about to identify what really has fueled my business, right? And the growth. For the year, when we talk about rate of travel and we talk about moving forward in the right direction based off of last year, right? I always look at, how many clients did I have this time versus last year? How many closings did I have? How many inquiries have I had? So when I look at that, I see the common trend, right? During the summertime, yes, people, there's two different type of clients. One that says, I don't want to do anything with a home. I want to travel. I want to spend my money on my kids, right? I want to take time off of work. But then you have the other client that's like, no, I want to buy a house now, move now, so that when school starts, we're in a new home. So you have those two. And then right now, this time of year, it's more of, I want to be in a home before the holidays. And I think that has been a lot of what's fueling the conversation, sparking the conversation. And a lot of my clients now are going after the new builds, right? New builds are offering the best incentives for my clients. But when you have a realtor like myself that will fight and negotiate for everything that a new build can offer you, then it really doesn't matter. But the new construction, I mean, everyone wants a new build, right? Everyone wants to buy a brand new home nobody's lived in. That's where you are, right? So I'm not shocked to see it from clients, but right now I want to be in a home before the holidays, right? And then we'll be dead at the end of the year because everybody spends all their money on Christmas gifts and traveling for the holidays, and then income tax season comes and they're ready to put money down and they're ready to get started. And then you'll see a dip during spring break, right? So it's just a constant trend in understanding your business and knowing where you're at. So I have done a better job of understanding the trend, which has helped me stay a little bit more organized on where I'm at with each client. Now, why am I more busy now in my career versus where I have been in the future? So,
In the past,
huh?
where you have been
I
in the
mean, in the
past.
past. Reason is because of two things. This time last year, you and I had a conversation that a lot of people obviously wouldn't know about. And you were like, what are you doing? You've been working corporate world in high level executive jobs for 10 years and traveling and doing all kinds of things. Like, are you going to bet on yourself? Now's the time. And I was at the time doing like $7 to $10 million a year in real estate by myself, working a full-time high level executive job. And it was hard as hell, but I loved it. Like the adrenaline, I loved it. And I think that's what kind of kept me motivated into staying with that specific company to do that. And I had a people leader at the time that really allowed me to dive into both businesses. But him and I also had a conversation too. And he was like, you have to make a decision, like it was getting to a point where I had to make a decision. And then you and I obviously had this conversation a year ago and we're like, what are we doing? Like I see what you do. I love what you do to help your clients. And so I just had to look in the mirror and not panic like, oh my God, if I don't sell a house this month, I'm not making any money.
Yeah.
If I don't get the client to the closing table, I'm not making any money. So I think that was the fear that set in. And I think that goes along with everyone that jumps into entrepreneurship and not just real estate.
Yeah.
So after having that conversation, I had just got promoted into an even higher level executive job that was going to require me to home base out of Atlanta, Georgia. I was back and forth to Kentucky, Atlanta, here, Austin, Houston, everywhere, New York with this company. And obviously, you and I would not be here on a personal side in our relationship. One, but two, my business wouldn't be here. here where it's at. Because I wouldn't be able to dedicate the time and energy to my clients having a traveling 50, 60, 70-hour work week. There's just no way. So 2 long-winded answers as to why my business is thriving now in this time of year and then now in my career.
Right. Makes sense. So, but I notice, and those are great answers, obviously, but I've noticed too that the attention to detail on loan types, like when I hear you on the phone, it's not really the glitz and glamour. It's more so the back end. Like, why do you focus so much on back end with your clients?
Because there's too many Instagram realtors making it look cute. And look at this beautiful $700,000 house, right? The average consumer in San Antonio cannot buy a $700,000 house. So I don't care that you look cute posting a $700,000 house, because when the average median household income is $49,000 in San Antonio, you don't know your clientele. So for me, I'm picking at all of the back end, right? I'm picking at how much money do you make? Is there a cosigner? How much is your car payment? I know that sometimes could be super personable, but I'm asking those conversations. Do you want a house or not?
Yeah.
I'm going to help you. If you have a $900 car payment and you make $3,000 a month, we need a cosigner.
Yeah.
Or our price point's under 200,000. We can get it done, but we have to be aggressive, right? So I think for me, it's understanding who my client is. That has really helped me dive into my business and help more clients, right? And understanding my resources too. I think so many people get strung up on the glitz and glamour of selling this beautiful home when I'm trying to sell a future, right? I'm trying to sell someone a home that I have a 72-year-old client that called me today. He's actually a retired broker and from the 80s. And he called me, he said, you know, Adrianna, I have a goal and it's to buy a house, right? And I said, okay. I said, let's do it. What are we waiting for? You know, he's VA, the whole nine, perfect client, credit is great. His income is decent enough to purchase a $230,000 home in San Antonio. Now, $230,000 in San Antonio can get you a 3 sides brick, beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage home in a safe neighborhood. So I was super excited and I said, how much, you know, do you think you can afford monthly? What are you paying now? And he's like, well, I don't really care about the purchase price because I'm not going to live long enough to pay it off. Right. And I almost literally died on the phone laughing because he started busting out laughing. And he's like, but this is something I want to be able to pass down to my kids. I want to make sure that when I die and my wife gets my military check, she can still pay for this home and then pass it on to our kids.
Wow.
So it wasn't even about, I want to pass on a paid off home. I just want to pass off an asset.
Yeah.
And that was like, wow, you know, understanding who your client is, that they may never pay off their home, right? And that's okay.
Right.
But it's something to be passed on to kids, aunts, uncles, you know, whoever.
Amazing.
But big picture, I think I care more about the loan for a lot of reasons. Obviously, kudos to you, right? Because you have been a big key point when it comes to credit, not just for the number, and we'll dive more into that later, but not just about the credit score, but like, what is on your credit? Do you know what's on your credit? What are the 3 key points that the loan officer wants to see on your credit? The average consumer doesn't know that. They just think, oh my God, I need to be a 700. I need 20% down. Well, there's a builder right now. If you're a 600 credit score and you have $500, you can buy a house for 0 down and take the home off the market.
Wow.
And we can find a home in your monthly mortgage price point starting at $1,200, $1,100.
$1,200. Wow.
So all that to say, I don't care about selling a $700,000 beautiful home. Although we all want to sell $700,000 beautiful homes. I've had $150,000 clients and I had a $1.5 million client. It doesn't matter. You're still going to get the same service. On my $1.5 million client, I'm like, okay, proof of funds, where is it at? Let's go put in an offer. I care more about the proof of funds, obviously, because he was a cash $1.5 million client. versus a financing. So that was a little bit different. Credit
Right.
score didn't matter. But I think, we lose sight of why we do this.
Yeah.
Some people do this for truly the commission check or as a hobby, or I want to do it part-time, or I want to leave my current job and go do this. And I want to be a realtor, but don't own a home. Blows my mind because I'm like, this isn't something to play with.
Yeah.
This is people's livelihood. This is where their kids are going to sleep at night. This is where their parents are going to sleep at night. This is where, grandparents, someone passed away, they have nowhere to live. This is the house that they can call home. This isn't just a commission check. And there has been countless times I have given up half of my commission, full commission. I have bought washer and dryer because it was going to make or break a deal. I have bought the TVs. I have gifted closing costs. I have done the unimaginable that other realtors wouldn't even fathom. Right. Because I don't care about that. I care about the fact that you are buying your home and now I'm going to get a referral out of it from someone in your family. And now I'm going to get blessed 10 times more.
Absolutely.
Because of that one transaction. So the glitz and glam of selling a home, I don't need to do because I'm not going to sell you the home. You're going to sell yourself. You're going to walk in and say, wow, I love this. I care more about the loan. The loan is where it gets down to the nitty gritty. It's all fun and beautiful. The new construction world and genre of selling homes is let's go have you look at a home that you don't know if you qualify for yet and get you excited. Let's now see if you qualify and you don't. So that type of genre, obviously, I take a little bit more caution when it comes to my clients on.
What can discourage a buyer too?
Yeah, and I would rather them be pre-approved before or do my due diligence and pre-qualify before.
Right.
Let's look at credit, how much you make before taxes. Who else can be on the loan?
Right.
There's been times where a cousin was able to co-sign on a home. They didn't know that the cousin's lease was going to be up, and all of a sudden they want to be roommates.
Yeah.
So they can buy the house together. So I think what it boils down to is I'm never going to sell you the house. And I don't want to sell you the house because my taste is not your taste and your taste is not my taste. I want to sell the loan. If you like this home, let's get it at the price that you can afford. And then we just go from there. And that's where my lender partners come in. And we really dive into, obviously, the analytics of that piece.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
So what are some myths or everybody has that weird thing about buying a house? First of all, why does everybody want to buy a house in a year? Every time I hear you, it's like, oh, next year. It's like, what are you calling me for now?
Yeah.
So what are some things you see in that world that are so common? Or what are some myths? What are some just straight up myths?
So the biggest one that I've been getting more recently is I'll buy a house next year. And I'm like, well, why can't you buy a house now? Right? Well, I'm in a lease. Okay, well, builders can buy you out of your lease. I can ask for seller concessions to help you buy, out of your lease. Or I need 20% down. That's the biggest myth of them all. 20% down, 1099 self-employed clients don't even need 20% down.
Wow.
So that's probably the biggest one. The credit score needing to be 680 and above. I had a VA client just buy a home for 520, at a 520 credit score. That's another big myth. All you need is a 580 to qualify with your own down payment. 620, zero down, and then 640 and 660 and 680 just help you qualify for more, down payment assistance programs. But the score does not matter. The same interest rate you're going to get at 680, you're going to get at 710.
Wow.
The same interest rate you're going to get at 620, you're going to get at 680.
Wow.
So people are so fixated on a score. And that's where, I meet my clients at the very beginning. And that's the conversation that we have is because they are given this false information. And or what I have noticed more recently is clients are talking to their own financial institutions. So they're talking to the Wells Fargos, the Chase, the PNC, the RBFCU, the Rocket Mortgage, where Veterans United, where, they're going to require you 20% down. The lending is totally different rather than going OSL with the private lender, different lender that maybe even a broker lender that will qualify you for more.
Can you break down what an OSL is? Some people don't know the lingo
Yeah, yeah.
in
So
the real estate world.
OSL really is just an outside lender. Some of the outside lenders I have worked with currently are Security National, Guaranteed Rate, Gold Financial, USA Mortgage, Apex Lending, Rev Mortgage.
And are they all the same, or do certain lenders, the OSLs, do you find have differences in programs, or some more
Yeah,
lenient? Or
I think that is why I've worked with all of them, is because they all have different loan programs that they are better at. They have more lenient requirements on certain things and or more strict requirements on certain things. So I know my veteran client, I may want to take him to Rev Mortgage, right? My down payment assistance client, I may want to take him to Apex Lending. My client that's your traditional FHA conventional, or even a tax return, a bank statement loan client, I may want to take to Security National. Every lender has their niche and has their specialty.
right.
And that is where you find the specific lender that can work magic. I have a client right now that's doing a land loan. I may want to take them to RBFCU, right?
Right.
They offer the best land programs, the best terms. So if I want a 1-year tax return loan, I'm going to send them to Prime Lending.
Wow.
There's just a lot of different specialties that I've noticed one lender may not be able to do and the other may.
Is that due to programs, or is that
It's due to programs like, for example, Apex Lending, he's a broker. So he's able to pull programs from a lot of different lenders all over the country, that even the state, that offer, government lending programs for the clients. Everyone has the T-Shack program, right? That program, I just did an updated training, because a lot of these government funded lending programs, their requirements may change daily, change weekly. It may be one word, it may be 2 words that change in the requirements. But all of that to say, I may take my down payment assistance client to Apex just because he's able to have more of a vast variety of loan programs that can tailor to the different specialty needs that my client may need
Makes
during the
sense.
home buying process. So I have my go-to lender for each client based on their needs.
coming down to, again, like you said earlier, knowing your customer? So you've
Yeah.
already have a customer avatar kind of built up where
Right.
you know this person's going to fit in with this lender, this builder, etc.
Right.
That's what sets you apart, really.
Yeah, and I think even it's not even just about like the lending side. Yeah, they may help them qualify for more on a purchase price and less on a down payment, but what it also boils down to is, are they going to mesh?
Yeah.
Right? Because this lender is in your entire life. They're going to even ask for grandma's bank statements, right? Like, they are in your whole life. And if you do not trust them, you do not build that rapport, you do not feel confident in that lender, then you can kiss this home buying process goodbye,
Yeah.
because it's going to go down the drain. So that's where I tell my client, I'm married to you, not the lender. So, this is business. If it doesn't work out, tell me, and let's move on. We're not going to get strung up on this one lender.
Right.
Even at that, I have a current closing, transaction that's going to happen at the end of the week. And we had to switch lenders because one lender denied, but another lender approved, 48 hours before closing. So, we had to push closing 2 weeks out. And that's not what we want to happen. But if the client doesn't get communication, if the client doesn't know what's going on, if the client doesn't mesh, then I need to know, of all people, because I'm going to fight for the client, not the lender, right? Even though I will only send my clients to lenders that I've built a relationship with, because if we don't have the same goal, the same mentality of getting clients into homes, then we shouldn't be partners either. Because I've had lenders, every single lender that I've worked with has either given a lender credit, like taking compensation out of their own check to make sure that my clients get to the closing table. So that's how I know the mentality is on the same page, because I'm not going to do what my lender won't do and vice versa. So lending, we can go on and on and on about
Yeah.
lending. Just
That's
because,
your world.
yeah, there's so many programs and lenders out there. And first thing first is making sure that they mesh, on the financial side and on the personal side and personality wise.
For sure.
And if they don't, then we're going to move around, because
Yeah.
I'm going to get you into a house.
Right.
So
So what's your trick as a realtor dealing with all the different personalities? Because it seems like you still keep the client, right?
Yeah.
Even though the lender doesn't mesh, how do you stay meshing with the client?
I think it's just making myself relatable, because I am born and raised in San Antonio. But when we say San Antonio has grown so much. And if you've ever lived in the small towns right outside San Antonio, you can still say you're from San Antonio. So I've lived all over San Antonio. I've lived at the Rim. I've lived in Stone Oak. I've lived in Universal City. I've lived in Converse. I've lived in Atkins. I've lived on the southeast side, east side, southwest, west, General McMullen, 36th Street.
Wow.
I lived on 211. I lived in Floresville, Pleasanton, Poteet. It doesn't matter.
Everywhere.
Cold, everywhere. Lytle, Seguin.
Wow.
Even right before New Braunfels, right? Cibolo. I've lived everywhere, right? And so your clientele is everywhere when you've lived everywhere. But I like being able to relate to my clients in different ways, whether it's the Patty's Taco House on Hackberry down the street, whether it's we can relate on the drive-through taco bar, beer, barn door, drive-through in Poteet. Like, if we can relate to anything, it's going to be either food or side of town or school, or I'm going to make myself relatable. And I think that's where I have built the trust with my clients, because, some people feel ashamed. Sometimes I've been running into this a little bit. They feel ashamed of like, well, I can only afford a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home. And I'm like, I don't care. You're taking the leap of faith to purchase a home for you and your kids as a single mom, single dad. I don't care. Don't be ashamed of what you can afford, right? Because I have a client next door that just did the same, that you did. I think making myself relatable definitely sparks the trust from the beginning.
Yeah.
Especially, yes, with the client, but especially with the builders, right? My very first home that I bought on my own was a Century home. So selling Century homes is a no-brainer, right? Because I've dealt with the warranty. I've dealt with the home itself. I've dealt with the structure. I've dealt with the foundation. Great, right? D.R. Horton. It's easy to sell D.R. Horton.
So you buying a home then kind of makes it easier for you to stay kind of even keel when their customers are kind of like, because you know exactly where they are.
Yeah.
Because you've been there before.
Yeah. So I think, there's so many realtors out there who don't own homes for a lot of different reasons, right? And one of the biggest ones may be that they're a new agent and they haven't dabbled into that, or financially they've already are an entrepreneur and need to get some ducks in a row, or they just don't ever want to buy, right? Home ownership is not for everyone.
Right.
But you're going to buy something to pass down to someone and keep your legacy going, whether it's land, manufactured home, a commercial building, I don't care what it is, a townhome. You're going to want to feel some sort of at peace with home ownership or ownership in general. So I make this comment all the time of like, if you're a realtor and you don't own a home, how are you explaining the home ownership process emotionally, mentally, and physically to your client if you have no idea what they're going through and feeling? You don't know what it feels like to work a 9-to-5 job, pick up your kids and drop them off from school, all while the title company is calling, asking for documents, lenders asking for documents. Now you have to pay off a debt because you didn't go through credit restoration, and you're stressing out. You're a single mom. Your baby daddy ain't around. You're trying to do this for your kids. You don't know what that feels like, right? So I think that is my biggest advocate for clients is, if your realtor doesn't know what's going on the back end on your side as a consumer, how can you trust them?
Wow.
And it's no shade,
Yeah.
right? To realtors, it's no shade. It's the facts. It's this entire transaction is very emotional, can be very stressful, mentally draining, and overwhelming. And if your realtor does not know what that means, then they're not the right one for you.
Right.
I don't care if they are the number one realtor in their designated area that they reside in. If they don't own a home, you're jumping on the bandwagon when it comes to realtors.
Right.
You don't need the best realtor out there.
That's influence, not education.
Right.
Yeah.
You need the best educated, knowledgeable realtor that's going to fit your needs that you're going to match with. Now, there may be times where I'm not everyone's cup of tea when it comes to realtors, right? I may not mesh with every client, but if I can snag an 18-year-old client and a 72-year-old client, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where I kind of have that like ick and like bone to pick with people sometimes, like that want to become realtors. And I'm like, it's a lot more than looking cute on Instagram and Facebook. It's a lot more than just posting your success. It's posting the success of the home ownership process. And I think that's where people miss the mark.
I love that.
So
It was kind of like, you were telling me about, and even I stopped doing it now, buying the TVs and all the glitzy stuff.
Yeah.
And what you did was that you started now getting movers. And
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, if we'd have had movers when we moved here,
Yeah.
oh my God, like that's
Yeah.
more, that holds more value than the TVs, right?
Yeah.
Or the cookware or whatever they're buying nowadays.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Every client, when it comes to gifts, I've seen TikTok is the devil,
It is.
but everyone goes on TikTok and they're like, oh, my realtor didn't do that for me, or my realtor, and to be honest, we ain't got to do nothing. Like there's no black and white contract ever or tradition that your agent buys you something.
Yeah, where'd
Right?
that come from?
I don't know. I don't know. I just, I buy my gifts based off of the personality of the client, one, and the relationship I have with a client. Now, my single mom, right? She's going to benefit from a 75-inch TV more than my 72-year-old client.
Right.
My 72-year-old client is going to benefit a lot more than everyone else with movers.
Absolutely.
So I launched this new program that I wanted to give back to my clients, and I was going to start offering movers, and there is 7 new homeowners in the next 30 days that will take advantage of my free movers service. And I'm super excited because not only do the movers make a big impact on the moving process, but it's one less thing that my homeowner has to take on. They don't have to schedule it. They don't have to pay a deposit. They don't have to book it, drop off, pick up here. I do it all.
Wow.
I just need you guys to follow this sheet that I'm going to give you. Call CPS Energy, call San Antonio Water System, and call the trash company and get your utilities and trash taken care of. I will do the rest.
Wow. And
that meant more to me than the cookware set, because you already live somewhere. You're not homeless. So you have cookware, And so that just goes back to what you said the other day. We were at the store and I was like, look, babe, they're having a major sale, on some really top-notch like cookware sets and on the go things like waffle makers, griddles. And you just looked at me in like disappointment. And I started laughing because I was like determined to buy that set for my client. It would have been like $700 worth of cookware stuff. So no shade on the gifts, right? But I just look back and I'm like, dang, when I started looking back, I'm like, me personally, if you are a true cook and you are in the kitchen, you know the difference between Tefal cookware Rachel Ray cookware, Martha Stewart cookware. Like, you know the difference.
You know,
So I'm not going to
embarrass yourself.
get you something that you may not even enjoy or appreciate.
Yeah.
Then it's a waste of money.
Yeah.
You know?
What about the guy in Houston that's buying his clients Louis Vuitton? What are your
Right.
thoughts on that?
It's in Dallas.
Oh, in Dallas. Sorry.
Yeah. He has a different clientele. He knows his client. His clients are, 75% of his clientele is $1 million and above.
Okay.
Not only are they $1 million and above, but they're also developers and investors.
Wow.
So he's the seller's agent for these developers, and him buying his client a TV is going to do what?
Zero. I mean,
Him offering movers is going to do what?
okay. Yeah.
He knows his client is about to make $5 million on the sale of this transaction.
Wow.
He's about to leave. One of his clients took off to Dubai, didn't even sign. He did a mobile notary.
Wow.
So he had to buy and send his clients Louis Vuitton wallet and Merce in the mail.
Wow.
Right? So that's on the seller's side. Now on the buyer's side for his clients, he also knows his clients, and they are buying these $1, $2, $3, $4, $10 million properties. And most of them are your single bachelors, single boss babes that are buying these homes. Most of them are not families. So buying them TVs is going to do what?
They're not going to be home to watch it. They're working.
Right. They own tech companies. They want a $10,000 TV, not a $1,000 Roku you can get at Best Buy. So it's about understanding your client. And that's the niche that I don't want people to forget.
Right.
And I think we forget who our clients are, or we don't take the time to learn who our clients are.
Yeah.
We just care about the adrenaline rush of, oh my God, they could buy a house right now. Let's go. Right? And they get them under contract and get them to closing. That's all we care about.
Yeah.
Right? When there's more to it, you need to know your client.
Right. Speaking of knowing your client, so you've had I've watched you have a few more contracts now and closings in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about, is there any difference between the client in Dallas versus San Antonio?
Yeah, a couple of things is I am now a part of the Arlington Board of Realtors, which has opened up a bigger can of worms for me when it comes to clientele referrals and things like that. So, little backstory is I went to college in Alpine at Sul Ross State University. Well, if you know anything about Sul Ross State University, you know that no one from there goes to school there. So it's everyone from Dallas, Houston, Austin, the Valley, San Antonio going there. So the amount of people I have met through my college career that have now reached out to me to purchase homes has been amazing, because it's all people I went to school with that now live in the Dallas market, in the Houston market, in the Austin market, obviously in the Valley. I just got a new listing in Rockport. New client in Carthage, new client in Longview, new client in Fort Worth, new client in Georgetown, Hutto, Round Rock, Leander. I mean, the list goes on. And all of that is the thanks to my referral partners from college. So that is what even opened up that can of worms of business when it comes to Dallas. And that goes back to one of my clients. His name is BB and his wife. And they were my very first clients in Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
And I am super excited for them because they bought a home. They were growing their family, and he is a football coach and his wife is amazing. He actually referred a family member down here to Preserve at Medina, and they bought an LGI home. So it was just like super small world. But all that to say that one client, BB, in Dallas has opened up a pipeline of clients.
Wow.
So the difference between, I went off on a tangent, but the difference between those clients and our San Antonio clients is a lot of things. It's the employment. So the income, household income is already higher than it is in the San Antonio market. So household income, their average household income up there is $82,000. Ours is literally half of that.
Wow.
So the price point is different. A lot of people, I'm not saying this is true, okay? But a lot of people correlate more income, better credit.
It's never the case.
It's never the case, right? I've seen $1 million clients with 400 credit scores. Like, it's never the case, right? So I think what I have ran into is just because they make more money doesn't mean their credit is better. So I still have opportunity clients when it comes to credit in the Dallas market. But when it comes to income, they just naturally make more money because of the market they're in. Household price points are still the same, though, when it comes to purchase price. They can still get, if you go further south in San Antonio, you're going to get a better price point. Up there, if you go further north, northwest, you're going to get a better price point.
Wow.
So it doesn't boil down to the clientele being different. It's just the market that they're in. The income is a little bit better.
Okay, so clientele still the same. Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so what about your Houston client? Is that still the same, or?
No, my Houston clients are like my bachelors, right? I used to live in the Stafford Sugarland area. So a lot of my clients like to live in either Missouri City, which is now up and coming. Oh my God. There's so many new construction in that area. So it's also one of those things. If you go south in San Antonio, you're going to get a better price point. If you go south in Houston, you're going to get a better price point. Because if you go north, your favorite place is there. The Woodlands. Right. So the price points just go up.
Absolutely.
Right? So also living in Houston has helped me understand the clientele, and it's either family or bachelor, right? The bachelor either wants to live downtown because they work in the medical field, they work in tech, or they are moving to Houston from Atlanta, California. They're opening up a new business. I have that going on right now. I have a California client. He found me on Instagram. He's did a loan application. He wants to move to Houston and open up a business over there. So my conversation with him is, all right, we have to go south if we want to stay in this price point. So the price point, again, as far as income goes, income is a lot higher. It's very similar to the Dallas market.
Okay.
But we still have the same credit issues. I mean, it's not like it doesn't get any better. San Antonio to Austin to Houston to Dallas. Everyone has in their life has experienced some sort of breakdown.
Yep.
Whether it's, they lost their job, they had to move, they lost their house, they got evicted, a broken lease, went through a divorce, whatever. Somebody has gone through one of those things in their life.
Yep.
And it has impacted their credit negatively. Nothing to be judged upon because we all been through it. We all have had broken relationships, whether you were married or not, that impacted you financially. So I think, credit is always going to be an issue until we can start teaching it in schools.
Yeah.
But when it comes to income, which dictates your purchase price, Houston and Dallas, and of course, Austin, as you know, that purchase price is a lot higher. Because their household average income is a lot higher.
Absolutely, for sure. So I want to go back to something you said earlier that I waited to talk about, but you said you're not going to treat a $100,000 client different from a $1 million client, right? On your level, but is there, when it comes to the buying or the emotional turmoil process, is it different? Is the client different?
Very.
The 180 client from $1 million client. What's the emotion like? What are the...
Very. I think it comes down to, with my 180 client, this may be the only time I'm ever going to purchase a home. My $1 million client is desensitized because I can sell this $1 million home and buy another one. Whereas my 180 client, this may be the first and only opportunity I can ever get them into a home.
Wow.
So definitely, by all means, emotionally, it takes a toll on me differently, right? Because my conversations look different with my $1 million client than my $150,000 client. But the service doesn't change, right? I'm still on my $180,000 client, just like I am on my $1 million client.
Right.
Let's go. Are we going to make a decision or not? Are we going to have a game plan? I don't need, I'm also not someone that's going to pressure you to make a decision, but I am someone that's going to pressure you to come up with a game plan. If your goal is to not buy a home in the next 30 to 60 days, that's okay.
Right.
I'm blessed. Again, I don't do this for commission. I do this so that you can purchase a home and have something to pass down. So my biggest thing is, all right, I want you to sit down and let's come up with a goal. Realistically, what does it look like for you to save $7,000 for a down payment? What does it look like for you to put $1,500 towards credit restoration? What does it look like for you to say, you know what? I don't want to break this lease. We can't do the buyout option. I don't want to move my kids from school in the middle of the school year. Let's wait till this time, blah, blah, blah. But I need a game plan because I'm not going to waste my time on a client that doesn't have a game plan. If you have a game plan and you're calling me and you're telling me a game plan and this is your goal, that's my job to step in and have a solution for every concern and have a resolution for every problem.
Right.
So I think that's where I am, constantly telling my clients, when they call, they call all the time and they're like, I want to buy a house in the next 6 months to a year. I had a client on Saturday. She said, I have to buy a house next year. And I said, well, why? She said, well, I haven't filed my taxes in the last 2 years, so I have to wait 2 years. No, you don't. Just file your taxes.
Yep.
But we need to do them right because you need to show enough income if you're a 1099 client. So I have a solution for every question you have. I have a game plan for every question you have. It's just a matter of you taking home ownership serious enough to ask those questions.
Yeah. Why do you think there's people who want to rent versus buying? Like, I just don't really understand.
The first thing that comes to my mind is they just don't want to have to deal with the home ownership issue. If what happens if my AC goes out? I'm responsible, and I'm like, okay, well, if that's your concern, let's go new construction where it has a warranty. There's my solution, right? Big picture, that's typically what it is. Or I have a middle-aged client that's like, I just want to live in a high-rise downtown
condo
or in the Rim, La Cantera area, or live at JW Marriott Resort and be fine. And that's okay. But the biggest thing is they don't want to deal with the home ownership horror stories that their uncle, primo, grandpa told them. So where there's a solution for everything. And the solution has also been, this year I've had a couple of two clients take advantage of the home warranty that I negotiated in their contract to take care of an AC and utility issue.
Wow.
And both clients paid $100 out of pocket to fix those things. And so my client had no idea that I was negotiating a homeowner's warranty, but it was important. It's important. And now look, it paid off. So especially on the pre-owned side.
Wow.